Video diary number one, it is July 18th and I am so excited to say that it's not only 135 days until my birthday, but it's also 138 days until I step on stage with the WBFF in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Not only is it going to be my first ever WBFF USA show, but it's also going to be my first time to Atlantic City, New Jersey, and I thought I would take you on the roller coaster of highs and lows of getting into the best shape of my life. I hope that you enjoy this series, and I thought I would kick it off with talking a little bit about my fitness journey so far, especially when it comes to competing, because it definitely hasn't been easy, but I hope that this series inspires you to go after whatever your goals are, whether it's fitness based or something in the workplace or with your family, relationships, travel, whatever it is. I want to show you that anything is possible, and I think this is the perfect time for me to talk about my true why, like why I started my fitness journey, why I continued it, and why I do what I do now, including competing. So as always, if you do enjoy this video, please show it some love and let me know in the comments what you want to see more of. For those of you that are new to my channels, my name is Julie and I am based in New Zealand. I've actually been on my fitness journey for over 10 years now, but I've only been competing for about half of that time. So when I started out, it was never to do with changing how I looked. It wasn't even a thing in my mind. And I feel like nowadays, a lot of people with social media will see how other people look, and maybe that inspires them to get into working out. But for me, it was truly just about stress relief from everything else that I had going on in my life at university. I put pressure on myself to do well in everything that I do. So being at university for accounting, doing violin papers, also trying to keep up with piano practice, all just became too much for me. So that's when I started going to the gym and lifting weights. However, me being me and Julie, I don't like to do anything halfway, so of course I fell in love with lifting weights and getting strong and wanted to better myself in that area too. Fast forward about 3 to 4 years, I decided that I wanted to compete in my first ever WBFF competition in the Gold Coast. So sure enough, I got a coach and I did 101 days of prep. It was a very strict prep. If it fits your macros kind of lifestyle wasn't a thing back then. It was all about clean eating. So very simple whole foods, very structured, following a one-page meal plan type thing for a solid 100+ days. I rebounded after that and ended up gaining the weight back and more, until one day I decided that I was tired of feeling this way. I was overeating all the time. It was impacting my relationship with Ross, my now husband. It was also just impacting how I felt from the inside out. I was crying most days, and then one day I woke up and I was like, you know what, I have to stop this. I have to take control again. So I got a coach and I decided to lean down a little bit and get into a better relationship with myself, exercise, and food again. So sure enough, I lost about 5 kilos and I felt so much better, not because I lost the weight, but because I finally turned things around, and I ended up doing a photo shoot for my 24th birthday, which still to this day is, some of my favorite photos, and not because I was the leanest I'd ever been, but because I'd turned my life back around and gotten back on track and felt good from the inside out, which then I think in turn made me more confident. After going through the roller coaster of competing for my first time, gaining the weight, losing it, I decided to reverse diet, build some muscle, and go back to Gold Coast a year later, in which I stepped on stage in my second ever show and got second place, which was absolutely incredible, because honestly, every single year, the women that step on stage, the level just gets higher and higher, and everyone looks better and better. So I was on cloud 9 to get second in that show, and I also went on to compete another year later in the Gold Coast show, in which I placed third in a very tough lineup. And then I wanted to do the first ever WBFF New Zealand show. So that was my 4th show. I wanted to do another show in the Gold Coast, and the whole world just shut down, as we know. Let's forget about the past few years. Anyway, my comp was cancelled at 6 weeks out, so I spent the next few years just working on myself, building really good habits, and helping other women all around the world achieve their goals before heading back to the Gold Coast this year, 2022, in April, in which I stepped on stage. I was so proud of how I handled everything earlier this year. I have had a very big year in terms of losing a loved one, which I've spoken about on my YouTube channel before. We built our dream house and our home gym. I've helped many women all around the world achieve their goals during this time. I also got through an ankle injury, knee injuries, and pushed through everything to get on stage. I am so proud of my confidence on stage, how I held myself, but I do think that I could be better and do better. So this is why I've decided to head over to Atlantic City to do the USA WBFF. Paul and Allison have put on incredible shows over there, and I want to take part in that. So this is going to be my first ever USA show, and I cannot wait. I did want to talk about why I actually compete, because when I first started competing, I heard that you either love it or you hate it. And the moment I stepped on stage in May 2017 and I felt those lights on me, I just knew it wasn't going to be the last time that I was going to do that. And sure enough, it wasn't. I absolutely fell in love with it. Everything from the friends you meet backstage to the glam of the bikinis, the hair, the makeup, the gowns. It is just such a special weekend and I absolutely love it. But you can't really just focus on that one day, because at the end of the day, it's like gone within the blink of an eye. For me, it's also about the journey to the stage. It's about overcoming so many things like I did this year and still pushing yourself to be better. And every time that I get on stage, I bring a better package. I am always a work in progress, and I love having this to look forward to. And that's, I guess, my shallow why of why I do it. It's about becoming the best version of me. But my deeper why is something that I haven't shared with like anyone. For me, it's something that's near and dear to my heart. And it's about showing my younger version of me that anything is possible. When I was younger, I definitely got teased. I was one of the only Asian kids in my school. We went to a very small school of 100 people. There were no other half Asians or Asians in my classes. And I think it's really hard growing up and not seeing anyone that looked like me in magazines and the TV, at my school even, and getting teased for stuff like that. For me now, it's about overcoming that and having so much confidence in myself and knowing that I can achieve anything I want to. So for me, it's about, showing my younger self that I could do it, but it's also, hopefully, my journey inspires many other women that you can achieve whatever you set yourself out to. And I want to be an example for other, women that are starting out in the gym to think like, oh, hey, well, she started there, I can do that too. And if there's other women that don't necessarily have someone that looks like them, out there doing their thing on social media, like I want to be that person for them. So that's a really deep why for why I do what I do. And to be honest, the Julie Fit Squad in over 80 different countries inspires me to keep going. I feel like I want to set a good example for them. So like if I was to just quit because I didn't get, first, second, third in my first ever show, what kind of an example would that set? Yes, I got second in my second show, but it wasn't about, the placing. It was about the fact that I had gone into my first show, I gained the weight, I'd lost complete control of everything, and then turned it around and gone back the next year better. And also I think my fitness journey is something that kind of sets an example and a tone for other areas of life, in that like this hasn't been a short journey. I didn't transform my body and my mind overnight. Yes, you'll see me over the next 20 weeks totally transform my shape, but that didn't just happen in 20 weeks. That happened in 10 years leading up to the point in which I'm starting my prep. I hope that you realize that progress does take time. Achieving your goals does take time. Does it have to take 10 years? Definitely not. I feel as if my journey's been an absolute roller coaster of highs and lows, and it would have been so much better had I just started with a coach at day one, if that was an option for me. But I've shared my journey the whole way, and I don't want to stop sharing it from now. So in this series, you can expect to see so much from me, from grocery hauls to workouts to getting my cardio done when that gets implemented, to some of my macros, my favorite meals, my tips for shredding, my tips for time management when on prep, because it's not just, the training and the eating and the meal prep. It's also the posing, the making sure you're getting 7 to 9 hours of sleep, making sure that you're still having time for family and friends as well. When it comes to all things comp prep, I will be having Alicia and Christos as my coaches for training and nutrition leading up to the show, as well as Toby Harrison for my posing coach at 16 weeks out. I worked with him for the April show and absolutely loved it. It's all done through Skype. And then for my bikini and heels, I have Anne from All For Me. We met back in Australia this year and I absolutely love her creations. So I cannot wait to show you what we create this year for Atlantic City WBFF. So that is my big chit chat for today. I just wanted to share a little bit about why I love competing, why I do it, and a little bit about the background of my fitness journey. Just remember not to compare your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 21, because you never know what they've overcome on their journey or how long it's taken them to get there. Thank you so much for being a part of my journey. I'll catch you in the next video.